Sugar is the devil. Well, at least that's what you'll hear many people say when it comes to your physical health. And to be frank, there is some truth to that. Table sugar and the sugar that is added to processed food is indeed quite bad for us, toxic. But one of the fuels our body uses for energy, glucose, is not toxic. It's as natural as it gets, and it's the single source for sugar-based fuel. So, if we can admit that the taste of sugar is fantastic, is the consumption of sugar really the devil? In this video, we're going to look at how sugar works in the body, particularly as it relates to muscle building and exercise generally. And look to where sugar does indeed have benefits and where the complete removal of sugar from our diet can be an alternative approach with extremely high benefits. All right, let's get into it. As it relates to our human bodies, sugar is really glucose. Glucose is a monosaccharide, or plainly a single molecule of sugar. This is what our body can use. It cannot burn any other source of sugar other than glucose. But what you may not know is table sugar and much of the added sugar in food comes in two molecules, or disaccharides. While we are perfectly capable with ingesting this sugar, we cannot use it for fuel until our bodies break it down into glucose. And that is exactly what happens. This breakdown obviously happens when we eat sugar, but is actually happening when we eat any carbs. This is particularly true with starchy carbs like bread or pasta. In order to get the fuel from bread, our body breaks it down into burnable glucose. Same with certain vegetables, but the rates of conversion can change. So the next time you eat bread or pasta, just know that your body does not make any distinction between bread and sugar once broken down into glucose. That is, in certain ways, eating bread or pasta is eating sugar. Okay, so if it is such a natural process, why does sugar get such a bad label? Well, for starters, it's incredibly easy to overeat sugar. It's in everything. Well, everything processed, it seems. Take a can of soda and remove all the water and artificial flavorings. There are over 15 sugar cubes in that drink. Crazy. And sugar is literally an empty calorie, meaning we do in fact get energy, but that's it. No protein, no healthy fats, no vitamins or minerals. Nothing but molecules that must be converted. Obviously, as we've all heard, the end result of eating too much sugar is body fat. This is easy for all of us to understand and makes total sense. But if carbs are converted into glucose, then there would conceivably be some amount that is natural and healthy. And this is correct. So whether sugar, or glucose to be exact, is good for us depends on the context. When we exercise and lift weights, our goal is to deplete the energy in our muscles and tear them down to enable them to grow back bigger and stronger. Glycogen, the form of the sugar that our body actually stores, is what gets depleted during exercise. And to rebuild our muscles, we need to build back glycogen stores. One of the key benefits of glucose, then, is to directly impact the rebuilding of our muscles after intense workouts. This is why you often see post-workout drinks and meals that contain easily absorbable carbs. They are to replenish what you burn through exercise. So sugar is a natural fuel in the form of glucose, and glycogen is the storage form of glucose that mainly resides in our muscles and in some organs. So sugar in this light is good and natural. And this makes a lot of sense if we look back into the past and the agricultural revolution, or more specifically, the introduction of processed foods into our diet. Carbs are found in nature. Simple forms of glucose are found in nature. Just think about fruit. And our bodies are perfectly designed to handle it and prosper from consuming it. But add in the processed foods of today, the abundance of added sugar, the starchy carbs that are stripped of fiber, and the fact that we love the taste of sugar leading to overconsumption. It's no wonder why we're having trouble. And why we are having trouble consuming it in the quantities that our body can naturally handle without spiking our blood sugar or sending the excess to live as fat around our bellies. But what about keto, carnivore, and the low-carb, no-carb craze today? Does that affect the muscle development and the muscle repairing provided by the glucose glycogen stores? At first glance, the answer is yes. But our human bodies are much more sophisticated than having one avenue to produce fuel. Enter gluconeogenesis, a fancy word for basically our way of creating glucose from anything other than carbs. So for those who are thriving on low-carb, keto, or carnivore, the lack of carbs initiates a fuel-burning switch from mainly sugar to ketones, a fat-based fuel that many argue is ideal for us, particularly in this era of processed foods and added sugar. But does that mean we're not able to build muscle as efficiently or effectively on low carb, given that the lack of glycogen storage in our muscles? No, our bodies are very adept and can run on both. So for those doing great on a ketosis-based fuel approach, we are not void of any glucose in our system. There are cells in our body that will only run on glucose, so we get that through the limited carbs that we do consume. Think of an egg that is a staple of keto and carnivore, but still has a little bit of carbohydrate in it. Even if it's only a small amount, our bodies will use it naturally. Then add in the fact that gluconeogenesis will take the fat and protein of that egg and convert it into glucose as our body requires. It is just a testament to the wonders of our human bodies and its capabilities. And gluconeogenesis is not the exclusive realm of those eating low carb. No, this is happening to everyone during sleep. It happens naturally after a meal and happens when we fast. Kicking our bodies into ketosis will accelerate the gluconeogenesis occurring, but it's not a new state for our body to become accustomed to, only a sharper focus on that change with the removal of the sugar intake. And with the low-carb move away from the glucose-based storage in our muscles, we also tend to lose two very important things: water and electrolytes. That is why you see people lose a lot of weight immediately on a low-carb diet. That is the water stored in our muscles along with the glycogen. We also have a number of electrolytes that are lost when the sugar-carb intake is reduced. Along with the water, the body tends to release its hold on electrolytes. So for that period of transition from sugar stores in our muscles to a gluconeogenic norm, drinking water and consuming electrolytes becomes paramount. Now, what about sugar substitutes? We are often told that the negative effects of natural sugar or glucose do not arise when using stevia or aspartame or others. Well, there is some truth to this. Artificial sweeteners do not have calories or very low calories. This, of course, is the most popular draw to sugar substitutes. This is obviously very good for those with diabetes or those trying to manage their blood sugar, and these sweeteners tend to bypass the rapid blood sugar spikes associated with glucose-based sugars. But remember, artificial sweeteners and sugar substitutes are processed. Even though stevia is considered a natural sugar, it's found in the leaves of a plant. Just like cane and beet sugar, it must be processed and concentrated for consumption. Other problems with artificial sweeteners include problems with metabolism and the ability to regulate natural caloric intake. Also, there have been widespread reports on gut issues and the maintenance of healthy gut bacteria. And allergies and weight gain have also been associated in part with sugar substitutes. As we advocate, stick to natural foods as best as you can, and when you cannot, try to limit the quantities of processed foods. If you do find yourself with an impossible craving for sweets, try to keep as much control as possible and limit the amount consumed. Drink a large glass of clean water before anything sweet. It will naturally calm down the sugar cravings. So, sugar is not the devil in nature. Sugar in fruit signals to us that the food is edible. Only after we have processed it and added it to everything does it really give us problems. Low-carb, keto, or carnivore can be the answer for some folks, but as we always say, keep everything very simple and customized to you and your personal goals. Get rid of the excess junk and set yourself up for tremendous success. Now check out this video for the importance of water for our health and physiques, and we'll see you next time.